Hey friends, welcome back to the Holy Comforter Episcopal Church YouTube Bible Study. I'm the Reverend Jimmy Abbott, the rector here at Holy Comforter Episcopal Church in Spring, Texas. And I come to you week by week to look at some of the scripture lessons for the upcoming Sunday so that we kind of know what's going on. And when we show up to church, we have a sneak peek. So today we're looking at the gospel lesson, the Gospel of Mark, chapter 1, verses 29 through 39. 1:29 through 39. Remember, Jesus has just been baptized, tempted in the wilderness, called the first 4 disciples, cast out the man with the unclean spirit, and then we get this story. So you can tell we're still pretty early on. As soon as they left the synagogue, they entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Now Simon's mother-in-law was in bed with a fever, and they told him about her at once. He came and took her by the hand and lifted her up. Then the fever left her, and she began to serve them. I want to stop there. This is very interesting, that the same sort of phrase about the fever leaving her is the same kind of language that was used about the demon, that the demon left the man, or the unclean spirit left the man. So you can almost tell in the first century world that they understood illness and mental illness as things that were not or should not naturally be part of that person, and that those things need to leave, which is sort of interesting. I also think it's interesting that it says he came and took her by the hand and lifted her up. That's a resurrection image, which is true, right? You've had a fever, and who knows what kind of illness this was, but you feel like there's new life when the fever's gone. You're like, you know, when you're sick, and you forget what it feels like to be healthy. So think of that transition happening instantly from sickness back to health. You're like, oh wow, like a new lease on life. And then it says that she began to serve them. This is really important. That word there, serve, is the same word where we get deacon or minister. I think it's interesting that it's not just like she got better, so she started making the sandwiches. It's that she got better, and as part of her response, part of her gratitude, as she started serving Jesus and his companions. In a sense, she is the icon of what we are all called to do as Christians, that when we encounter Jesus, then we are called to then do something about it. Verse 32, that evening at sunset, they brought to him all who were sick or possessed with demons, and the whole city was gathered around the door. And he cured many who were sick with various diseases and cast out many demons, and he would not permit the demons to speak because they knew him. It's kind of it's a cool image, right? That sort of word has gotten out about this Jesus character, that he has authority over the demons, he has authority over illness, or whatever it may be. And you kind of get the sense of like this crowd like crushing in on him. It's such a cool image that the words and the deeds of Jesus were so contagious that people just had to go and see what was happening. I talked about this last week about how he would not permit the demons to speak because they knew him. It's interesting that in the Gospel of Mark, the demons know who Jesus is, but not all the people do. And so it's this almost like subtle criticism of us in our own spiritual lives, that how can the demons get it and we still don't? Verse 35. In the morning, while it was still very dark, he got up and went out to a deserted place, and there he prayed. I mean, Jesus is a morning person, right? But there's also this, it's drawing that emotional boundary, and Jesus sort of shows us what that boundary looks like. You know, so he's had a very intense day the day before. The people were crushing in around him. They were gathered around the door. We would imagine he was probably up very late. And he needs a little bit of alone time, a little bit of time to reconnect, to remember who he is, to remember what his vocation, what his intent is, what his mission is, and that's what we're about to get. But it's an image then also of Sabbath. I mean, we know this in our busy lives. Sometimes it can feel like taking a break is a bad thing because we're not being productive, we're not accomplishing tasks. But the point of Sabbath is to intentionally take that break, because it's in those sort of quiet moments, it's in those still times that actually new things are growing within us. So this is my exhortation to you, among other things, is to be able to take breaks, to stop, to take a moment to pray, to breathe, to reflect with God. And then I think then when we return to our work, that work will actually be more fruitful. Verse 36, and Simon and his companions hunted for him. When they found him, they said to him, "Everyone is searching for you." Those are the truest words in the Gospel of Mark. Everyone is searching for you. I think that this entire world, everybody we know, is searching for what Jesus has, for love, connection, for meaning, for grace. That is who Jesus is, and that is what Jesus has, and we're all searching for that. Now, a lot of times we search in the wrong places. We search for love, for connection, for meaning, in all sorts of bad, sinful, dark places. Or sometimes just not even bad, sinful, or dark places, but just sort of neutral places that aren't Jesus. But I think that there is this human longing inside of us to be loved, to have a connection, and that's what Jesus provides, and that's why everyone is searching for Jesus. Jesus answered, "Let us go on to the neighboring town so that I may proclaim the message there also, for that is what I came out to do." And he went through Galilee, proclaiming the message in their synagogues and casting out demons. Jesus, he knows what he's up to. He knows his mission. He knows his intent. There's no waffling. Like, I am here to preach the gospel. I'm here to cast out these demons. I'm here to proclaim this message of love. And let's get going. I've got no time to waste. Next week, we're not going to continue on into the rest of chapter 1 with Gospel of Mark. We're going to actually flip forward to the Transfiguration because it's the last Sunday before Lent. And I pray that all of you, as you prepare for your own Lenten journey, may know just why you are doing so. That as Jesus knew exactly what his mission was and what his vocation was, I pray that you too may have a clear sense of purpose, of God-given purpose and mission in your own life. I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out to me, and may God bless you on your journey this week.